So hello, Courtney King, or Cinderella as she's known on the PCT. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So happy to have you on. And for the listeners, Cinderella and I did an Instagram live, of course on Instagram, and we went over 5 of these 10 questions that we're going to go over. So it'll be interesting to see how your answers have changed, because we talked to each other at that point when you were in NorCal. And so now you're done with the trail. So if I'll put a link to that Instagram live in the show notes, or if you're on YouTube and watching the video, I'll put it in the little comment section at the bottom, or the little note section at the bottom. I don't know exactly what it's called. And you can compare and contrast your answers as well. Especially it would be good if you're a new hiker to get all the information that you can. So that's for the viewers and listeners. With that, Cinderella or Courtney, go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners and our viewers.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Definitely, I was excited to partake in, recording podcasts over the summer and the Instagram Live and things like that, because I was definitely really new to the thru-hiking community and backpacking in general before doing my hike. So it's cool to then be giving advice to other people. So yeah, my real life name or fake life, whatever you want to call it, is Courtney. My trail name is Cinderella, which I could get into later how I got that trail name. I'm originally from upstate New York, lived there most of my life, and the 2 or so years before the trail was getting my master's degree in ecology in Western Colorado, specifically focused on wildlife. So kind of began the trail, among other reasons, as a celebration of getting that degree and wanting to see a new area of the country. I started the trail on May 10th of 2021, so a little bit of a late start, and finished. Oh my gosh, I thought I memorized my finish date. I think it was September 23rd or 24th, with depending on how you want to consider what a finish was this year, with not being able to cross over into Manning Park. So I reached the terminus and then still had another day or so actually on the trail, having to backtrack, which is kind of a little bit of an interesting situation that a lot of us northbound on the trail had to deal with this year.
Yeah, with the fire. So I'm sorry, you said, did you make it to the terminus?
Yeah, sorry.
Back.
So
okay.
I didn't explain that well. I did make it to the terminus.
Okay.
I know there were some fires there at some point, but this year, because of COVID and things, you weren't allowed to get a permit to cross over into Canada. At the site of the terminus, even residents of Canada couldn't cross over there. So we instead did basically reach the border, and then you had another, I think, about 30 miles to walk back to the nearest pass with the parking lot. So that was something I had hoped would change by the end of the summer, but it actually ended up being kind of a nice thing. And I think it kind of harkened back to what the PCT used to be before people would ever even cross, even go into Manning Park Resort. You have this 30-mile section where you just finished, and it's super exciting, and then you get the chance to go backwards. So on your way to the terminus, you're seeing people who you knew who are maybe a day or so ahead who have finished. On the way back, you're getting congratulations from everyone. So it actually ended up being kind of a really nice experience, and time to, I guess, begin to process emotions surrounding the trail, and just, a very celebratory atmosphere.
What is the grossest thing you did or ate while on trail?
I was trying to think of this one. I guess in terms of gross things I ate, I couldn't really think of anything awful. I think, I talked about in the Instagram Live being vegan on trail, and I think that kind of necessarily made me avoid some of the grosser, everything mixed with tuna fish and things like that people have come up with. once I tried to like do like shots of olive oil, and olive oil is not the same if you're trying to drink it as opposed to just mixing it in with things. But for the most part, I guess the only thing really gross about what I was eating was just the quantity of things, and maybe mixing weird things together. Other gross things, I guess, like things that like being on trail I wouldn't necessarily find gross, but you know, are kind of fun to talk about for non-trail people. I think my longest time without a shower was 10 days, and that was my first stretch of trail. So, you know, getting it right over from the beginning, I guess, just because of, you know, I wasn't really taking zeros or Neros or anything like that, and just how timing ended up working out. So definitely had some other times on trail too where I was not as clean as I could have been, things like that. This is really gross. I won't go into detail, but definitely in Washington, especially around, I think, like the middle of Washington, where there's a lot of lakes, there's all these pit toilets that are very like primitive for a pit toilet, I would say. No sort of shelter, anything really, just like a toilet in the ground that has a sign marking you towards it. And I definitely came upon some that were completed, I should say. Shouldn't have been used anymore, hadn't been emptied out. So definitely one of the grosser things I've encountered were some of those.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds pretty bad. And I'm guessing you didn't use them, or maybe you did.
Yeah, but yeah, if something was really gross, definitely not. But you know, especially when it's raining all day, you really don't want to stop for any time at all when it's cold and rainy. So if there was a place where there happened to be a pit toilet, when it probably would have been cleaner to just dig a cat hole, I may have opted for the toilet just for convenience.
Quick. Right.
Yeah.
It's funny, when I was hiking through Washington, I heard about all of these pit toilets or whatever. I maybe saw like one. I don't know if I just blew by them or if I didn't see the signs, but I didn't see many of them. So I guess maybe that's a good thing, because I don't know if I would have used them anyway. But
yeah. And there's definitely the fear too of someone walking up on you, because like I said, it was you know, there was one like that I thought was really funny in Crabtree Meadows, which is where a lot of people camp before hiking Mount Whitney. And everyone thought it was super funny, and then it was like a bunch in Washington. But yeah, it was kind of like they were in places that must have been designated campsites, and you would see just like a sign pointing you. So but yeah, there was really like no knowing whether someone was there or not, apart from like if someone thought to like put their back near the sign or pack near the sign or something like that.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
To like say, hey, this is being used right now. Like, don't come up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a gross one.